So we got the soccer mom, and now we got a soccer heist. What is going on with this? Is it FIFA? I always get yelled at when I try to talk about that. So FIFA. So what is going on with Trump, the Kushners, FIFA? Lots going on. How are you, Sal?
You know, I always say Friday I have the Friday fiasco. We'll get to that little bit. But late last night I wrote an article on Greco.com in regards to this FIFA. Listen, FIFA's been around a long time, and listen, they're a corrupt organization. There's no doubt about it. But when you saw what happened for the World Cup. It was almost, I'd say, Americanized, where you have 25-minute breaks and they have commercials. That's not soccer. Now, look, I grew up with like a soccer ball in my hand because being Italian, Italy is, you have pride in Italy as a nation, as a World Cup team and all that. And I love soccer. So I'm not a soccer mom or a soccer dad. But the fact of FIFA, what they did with FIFA, is they made this a big money grab. And I saw this the president, I believe his name is Infantino, very chummy with the president. And you say, okay, he wants to bring it. He's bringing World Cup to America. This is a big revenue generator, big revenue generator. But when you start to see this Kushner guy, who again, if you go back to when Trump was running, I thought we were told the Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump would not be involved in this administration at all. And now he's the envoy going overseas. He's involved with this. So that's one of many issues we're having right now with this administration. But his brother Joshua Kushner is in charge of, I believe it's a capital venture. It's a firm. They're trying to invest in taking over FIFA, and they're going to make this a global, game. Look, this administration already has so many questions behind it with all the appearances of impropriety. And here's another one with Joshua.
Thrive, Thrive Capital.
Thrive Capital. That's it. Thrive Capital is looking to take over FIFA now. UEFA, which is all the European continents. That's a separate league. There's a European championship, but that's, Spain, England, France, Italy, Germany. They're part of UEFA, and UEFA has their soccer teams competing in FIFA, which is for the world, right? That's where you see Mexico and America playing against the European teams. They're going to pull all their teams out because they said, we don't want any part of this FIFA and takeover from the Kushners. And Jason, not too long ago, I wrote about something else. Is Jared's looking to buy a whole island there in Albania. So it's like, you got a lot of foreign entanglements with this presidency in the backdrop, and it just doesn't look good, Jason. And now I'm telling you, FIFA, they already told them, that's right there. UEFA is going to boycott FIFA next World Cup. And they don't want this big takeover. I knew this was going to happen because the game was getting, it looked like an NFL game. And you got to say to yourself, this is not the Super Bowl, it's the World Cup. So I could tell. And then, that awkwardness of Trump standing there with Spain winning and like not getting off the stage. You're like, I just didn't understand any of that. But it's more of that problem right there. And there they are. That's Jared and Joshua Kushner. What is their fascination with the Albania island, right? And now this taking over.
They're going to be Eric Adams' landlord. No, but we're joking, Sal, but this is very serious. I mean, listen, here's the thing. I don't like to criticize Trump, but we do have to call balls and strikes. And if we want to prosecute Fauci and we want to say Hunter Biden did this and that was wrong, and the Clintons did this and that was wrong, you can't have your son-in-law and his brother going into business, and you can't have your sons running venture capital. I mean, this is crazy. This does at least they always talk about conflicts of interest having the appearance, this at least has the appearance of monetizing the presidency. It should not be being done.
No, and that's the point. The point is, we were told that he would have zero involvement with this presidency, meaning Jared Kushner. Yet he's in the Middle East. He was there for FIFA. He was there when he went to the Knicks game. He's always around. So he loomed large in the first administration, and here he is looming large again. But now, and he has deals with these Middle Eastern countries.
Luma what?
Well, Loomer, yeah, another one.
It's the second story to talk about.
That's another story. But again, it looms large, and it's like a shadow being casted over the presidency from his son-in-law. And here it is again now with his brother stepping in to try to take over FIFA. And again, this is a big thing. It's like all over the news in Europe. And remember the World Cup, it's probably the biggest, I think it's the biggest money, as far as money goes, generator in the world for sports. Nothing generates more money in sports than the FIFA World Cup, and meaning, soccer. And you're about to have this takeover, and these people don't even want that. So I'm just a little, I don't know what's going on with that, Jason. It's very odd.
Now, I included the soccer mom only because we like to make fun of her. I don't know that she necessarily has anything to do with the FIFA thing, but
yeah, we will say that her family hosted the final game, if you remember. And even that happening had question marks surrounding that, because how did MetLife get the final over, I believe, SoFi Stadium in San Francisco, or was somewhere out there in the West Coast was supposed to have it. So
really?
That was a whole nother discussion. Yeah, there was grumblings about that. This has this man's presidency, the fingerprints of things are looming large. And just in passing, because I know everyone was killing this. I mean, you talked about it on your show with Charles Littell. Fauci's case the other day, I said on my own show, nothing's going to happen. It was more of a WWE-like event, which we all know is, it's rigged, like being in a rigged casino. If he gets prosecuted for contempt of Congress, which, listen, Steve Bannon went to jail, rightfully so, should have been in jail for perjuring himself at Roger Stone's trial. I mean, he should be in jail as we speak. But for what he did, which is a federal crime, if you do this, this is what they're waiting for. Because some Republicans jumped on this. Florida is now looking to prosecute him for a federal trial. I don't even know how you do that. If you go down this road, remember, the tides are turning come November. When Democrats take back Congress, which is more likely, it's looking more and more like that. And it might take the Senate. They will do the same to the Trump family. You have Donald Trump Jr., which Norm Eisen's exposing all over the place. And look, irrespective of how you feel about the guy, he's actually got a point. You have Eric Trump, the drones, the casino upstate with Eric Adams and all that nonsense. The Eric Adams deal itself, whatever happened with that. Oh, there's so many other things. Crypto, they're going to drag them in. Even Barron Trump could be dragged in. And you know what? When they decide to plead a fifth, they're going to play the game. Well, you did to Fauci what we're going to do to you now. So that's why you heard Trump backtrack. Oh, we're going to honor the pardon. I thought we weren't going to honor those pardons.
No.
He's seen all this flip-flopping.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but also, see, the thing that's complicated about Fauci is that people are citing this case. I forget the case, but they're saying, oh, no, Fauci has immunity, so he can't invoke the Fifth Amendment. But first of all, the case that they're citing is not specifically about a presidential pardon, first of all. Secondarily, it speaks to the concept of prosecutorial immunity, which is, in other words, when the police arrest, let's say, Felix Sater, and then let's say Valerie Caproni and Andrew Weissman get him in a room and say, hey, we need some a bilingual Russian criminal to work for us, we will sign this deal that says we won't prosecute you for anything if you do all this stuff for us. That is prosecutorial immunity. Fauci does not have prosecutorial immunity. He's got a specific presidential pardon for a set of activities or a duration of time or whatever that does not cover state charges. So if Florida says, hey, you did things that injured citizens in Florida, all these states have these so-called long arm statutes where even though it's not a federal court, they can go into other states if you break their laws and harm their citizens. You call somebody up in Florida and scam them for money, Florida can prosecute you in another state. So he does have the right, as far as I can tell, to access the Fifth Amendment. And as much as we dislike that, it is important that we protect it, Sal, because you've seen what happens when they try to turn the law against you when you haven't done anything wrong. So, I mean, Trump is creating a sticky mess here by saying like, oh, well, you did the, it's just like the presidency is becoming who can do the next bigger set of crimes and get away with it.
Correct. That's what this is becoming. I hate to admit it. You and I, we voted 3 times for this guy. I got to be honest. It's been a rocky road in this administration. Now it's got to the point where now Alex Jones is essentially cut ties with Roger Stone.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Roger cut ties with Alex, but that was an interesting development, wasn't it?
Well, look, Roger's saying he's not going to go on his show anymore. When last week he was on it, and listen, it was a little contentious there. He asked him a couple of questions. Look, Roger, he's my friend, right? And you know how I am. I'm loyal to my friends to the end. But whatever his opinion is of Trump, who he's known since the 70s, I don't think that should affect his friendship or his relationship with Alex Jones. Now, I know what Alex does. You go on, and he was asking a lot of things about Trump. And look,
I didn't see that. What did he say to Roger?
Well, he asked him some questions last week about Todd Blanche and this one, and what would you do here, and Trump and that. Listen, a lot of what Alex Jones says is a lot of validity to it. He asked a lot of questions. He's asking the right questions right now about the presidency, but Roger will, he's known him for such a long time. And remember that he pardoned him when he was going to go to jail.
Right.
Albeit it was because of Trump's case itself. So
yeah, that's kind of like saving his life, basically.
Yeah. So, is he, you're asking him to what? Jump on a bandwagon and impeach the guy?
Right.
He's not gonna do that. Okay.
Was that what Alex was trying to do to get him to denounce Trump?
He turned around and said, we're going to impeach Trump like now, like 25th Amendment now because of the War Powers Act and all this stuff. I don't know.
No. I saw that, but I'm saying, was he trying to like corner Roger into saying something bad about Trump? Because that would be pretty crappy to do.
That would be, yeah. But it kind of seems that he's upset that he said, I'm not going to come on the show anymore. And the last 2 times he went on, there was a lot of,
tension.
Yeah, big tension over the questions in regards of whatever, what's Trump doing and whatever he should be doing or what he shouldn't be doing. And look, Alex Jones says he knows Roger for 15 years, and then he takes a shot at it. He says, oh, and I like, and I like the barn door isn't coming down, every time you come on the show, whatever. Alex Jones has known Roger said for 15 years. 15 years ago, Alex Jones was a carnival act. And people said this guy's a conspiracy theorist and a nut. Enter Roger Stone, and the next thing you know, he has, at the time, candidate Donald Trump on InfoWars, and he takes off like a rocket ship. We go later on and see everything he was doing. He had Roger around. I mean, you were there in D.C. You remember Jerry Corsi, and everything is centered around.
That's true.
Roger
2016, Roger Stone was a very, very big component of that show. Look, I got my own beefs with Alex Jones. I mean, I like him personally. I think he's funny and he's been generous to me in the past, but he threw me off of his show, for being honest. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, his son was a lot more respectful and a lot more humble about things. But I don't know, Alex. He threw Owen Schroyer overboard, remember, and he tried to destroy that guy after he worked for him. And I say this: I know both, obviously, but Roger's like family to me. But I think Alex was a little you know, overstepping a boundary. And let me tell you, Alex, when you wrote your book. Your forward in that book was Steve Bannon.
Ooh.
You and Steve Bannon weren't even seeing eye to eye until that time period, like right before that. Meanwhile, Steve Bannon, as you know, is a Jeffrey Epstein associate.
Yeah,
So,
what's with that?
yeah,
I don't understand Alex Jones. He does a lot of things that are.
yeah. So, and that one always stuck with me because I said the guy that brought him to the dance was Roger.
Oh yeah, and he
You know,
loves Nick Fuentes. He has Nick
Yeah, he,
Fuentes on.
he's but he doesn't know. I don't know if Alex Jones understands the word loyalty
I
and
think he's
bring you
just
to the
mostly
dance.
interested in sensationalism and doing
Yeah,
whatever
but
is gonna.
still, he made Steve Bannon the forward in his own book when it was supposed to be Roger. I mean, that's what Alex, I believe, said himself. But Steve Bannon wrote the forward. So forever and a day, Alex Jones' book that went viral and he made all this money off of is a forward from Jeffrey Epstein associate. Maybe he was giving him something off the island over there. Who knows? But I'm just saying Alex was out of line and he should remember who brought him to the dance. And you never forget those things. And apparently he forgets a lot of things.
Hmm.
And a lot of, although he makes a lot of good,
Oh
valid
yeah,
points.
look at this. Forward by Steve Bannon.
Yeah. It's forward by Steve Bannon. That was not supposed to be forward by Steve Bannon. So
Hmm.
he decided to, put his lock his he put his boat on the he put his boat in the backyard over there of Steve Bannon.
What did he have in the bathtub? Hydrochloric acid or something like
Hydrochloric
that?
acid, yeah. So I just got to point out what needs to be pointed out because he's got
Wow.
a lot of people listening to him, and Roger is a victim of social engineering like the rest of us. We're all seeing less views, less engagement. Alex Jones and Laura Loomer just keep growing and growing and growing.
Well,
Isn't that
they're
amazing?
at war as well. I've been really disappointed in Laura Loomer. She's interviewing Azov Battalion and just basically, swallowing what that guy was saying without questioning him at all. Did you see this press gaggle with the Ukrainian ambassador where somebody outright asked her what was the embassy's involvement in Laura Loomer's, or was there any embassy involvement in Laura Loomer's trip to Ukraine? And the ambassador said, well, I'll decline to answer that. So that
Oh,
seems to indicate, I mean, again, for me, whatever Laura is saying, I don't have any evidence either way. I just find it difficult to believe that a U.S. citizen, even with 2 million Twitter followers, could just travel to a country in the middle of a war and get an audience with the president at the presidential palace without that being set up for weeks or more and having lots of powerful people behind that. I'm not saying I've seen some check. And also, Laura has been very specific in answering this question. She says the Ukrainian government didn't pay for her trip, and she's willing to sign an affidavit and take a lie detector test. But I would like to press that question a little further in that, did a defense company pay for the trip? Did she receive a payment of any kind related to this trip? Did she receive any preparation for the questions? I mean, she didn't ask Zelensky when the next election was going to be. She didn't ask Zelensky what happened to Gonzalo Lira. She didn't ask Zelensky what's going on with Andrei Telizhenko. She didn't question this Azov Battalion guy at all about what happened in the Euromaidan, what alleged Ukrainian individuals were doing on the ground at the Capitol on July 6th. She didn't ask any of the difficult questions that I would like to see answered. So I'm very disappointed in what Laura has been doing. And it's just interesting to see. Alex Jones is fighting with Laura. Alex Jones is fighting with Roger. Roger is fighting with Laura. Laura's fighting with both of them. I mean, if there is someone who wanted to fracture the Donald Trump base, that's certainly happening.
That's and Laura is somewhat attached to the Trump administration, and then Roger was the person that essentially would be the orchestrator. It started the administration way back when. He started the whole Trump
That's
campaign, all of
true.
that, and now but he's been essentially he's outside this bubble because he doesn't even work for the guy. So everything you're hearing involves everyone that works around them. Roger is he's out in left field. He does his own work. He writes books. He doesn't work for this guy. He doesn't work in DC. He doesn't work for the administration. So you got to look around at who is around this guy. And what we always see is this Jared Kushner and, the usual suspects. Boris Epstein. Blanche is not getting, they don't want him to become the next district attorney.
I got questions about Todd Blanchard. I mean,
I do too.
That's the thing. I don't want to go against the president of the United States, and particularly not the president that I voted for, but you do have to kind of like call a spade a spade. And when we have an idiot for the attorney general in Pam Bondi, and then we get another one who appears to be, a former Democrat, lawfare kind of, like Emil Bove, like what the hell was going on
His
there?
Friend, yeah, Emil Bove. Guys, again, Boris Epstein brought these guys around. So you have to ask yourself, why is he around? I saw him.
Now, wait a minute. You had something you sent me about John Shell. I don't know if I can look at John Shell on X. We got also in a minute, we're going to be making our way over to External Affairs. People can join us on thesalgreco.substack.com and also on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. But what is going on with John Shell?
Apparently I sent you that picture. It looks like he's saying something about with the president. It was a book. It said West Wing. Isn't that nice? Look, I told you way back in November when all of a sudden Eric Adams shows up to Trump's, there it is with Trump's.
But what is this? Is he just having lunch there and this is the menu, or what is this that he's showing us? Does anybody know if Donald Trump hires John Shell to be a part of the administration? That is really,
well, he has Kaz Dodry.
Right.
Listen, trust me, I have something major coming next Friday too, a Friday fiasco. But
let's talk about this more, Sal. We'll go to the sponsor exclusive segment now, and people can join us over there. We got a lot to discuss about John Shell. The guy shot and killed somebody. There was no